Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 17, Melinda. Definitely love this episode. We got some pretty crazy moments in it. We got people learning about their family history, learning when they were born, learning about the night they were born. We get to see why May, we finally get to see why May is called the Cavalry. That entire mission, which was just crazy with the twist at the end there. Also, the end of the episode, which was an even crazier twist with apparently Raina's actual transformation having nothing to do with her powers, unless she actually got two different abilities. If she can, um, like control her quills and things like that, eventually, like shoot them off like Spike from X-Men Evolution or something like that. But like this entire episode is definitely fun to watch. We also got, I also love the little scene at the end with Fitz when he unlocked the box, which was really cool of him. It was kind of awesome that he did it. But he was like, I think I'm being followed, but can I come and hang out with you guys for a little bit? I thought that was just a funny line. It was just so genuine to me. It was just really funny. But I really enjoyed this episode. Like in the very beginning, we got to see Skye training with her mother. She did the whole avalanche thing, which was pretty cool. And things are happening little by little. She was learning that, the woman who's training her never trains anyone because she's in charge. So it's like, why is this woman, why is she taking me under her wing of all people? And we get this stuff with Raina where she's really trying to come to terms with her abilities, and she's trying to, deal with this crap because she hates it. She hates having this transformation. She wants to at least be able to, like, leave the little room that she's in, like this little tiny building that they have her in. She wants fresh air. She wants to be able to see the sun and be able to go places and do things, but she can't. She can never leave. It's not that, she can't leave now. She can't leave ever because of what's happened to her, because it just doesn't work. It doesn't follow the rules. And we learned a bit about the rules in this episode. We learned a little last time where it's like certain people, it's kind of like everyone waits their turn and they're evaluated and stuff like that. It's like if, things are, if they're deemed worthy, they, in this episode we obviously learned some people, um, can just be evil, like, evil little kids and stuff. So if they're not deemed worthy, they don't get those powers. It's a lineage type of thing, and it was just really interesting. And in this episode, I think the stuff that happened between May and the little girl is kind of the main reason that Skye has to worry and keep things secret, that she's the daughter of the leader, because it's like that happened in the past, but everyone would kind of connect that, like, well, sort of a blanket summary type of thing. Well, this woman did this for her kid. Look how that turned out, and so they kind of carry that over. Although it wouldn't be a fair assessment, but admittedly, Skye's already in the doghouse because people feel like she kind of cheated the system, despite not wanting anything, to do with, basically this entirely different world that she's now living in. But it made sense ultimately. Like, she's already, people already kind of hate her and are jealous of her. It would just be even worse if she ends up being the daughter of the leader, and just add that onto everything that people are already saying. It would obviously be a huge issue. But it was fun to watch her go through this episode and realize that this woman training her is actually her mother, and learning about things. We also find out how she's alive, and it's um, actually that she was seriously pieced back together. I guess, we saw her dead, so it's not like she was chopped up, really. Like, her organs were kind of gone, so I don't know how she was pieced together, but that's how it happened. She was brought back to life. She healed, and they basically scoured the earth for their daughter, and they couldn't find her. And that's when this couple that had been, a normal family, they split down these two separate paths, and one person went the route where they could not accept the fact that they lost their daughter, and ultimately became evil and angry all the time. And the other person felt that they had to accept it because there was no other outcome. And instead of things going outward, it kind of went inward, and she became kind of, I don't want to say self-centered, but I'm trying to think of the right term for it, but I guess just centered in general. She became centered, a more centered person, and she came to accept something so incredibly harsh because she felt she had to, that it allowed her to be this amazing leader and this serious person who's able to train all of these people with special abilities. So it was kind of cool to get that story and see how these characters who were this normal family wanted to have a daughter and ultimately had a daughter were separated by losing her and were really torn apart. And it was just interesting. And then they have the family dinner at the end, and I don't know really how things are gonna work out. Skye seemingly enjoyed herself. She was obviously reluctant to do it in the first place, but it seemed like she was genuinely having an okay time, and she was, with this man who caused a bit of it, a bit of an issue early on in the season. But she was with this man that she, had so many issues with, but she admitted, like, I was able to train with my mother to control these powers that hurt, not only myself but other people that I care about, and ultimately that only happened because of you. So it seems like she might actually be able to accept things as they are, and he obviously has what he wanted. All he wanted was his daughter to be with him because he wanted her to have that normal family life, and it might not exactly be a normal family life, but it's a family still, and they can rebuild and actually train. I don't know how things will exactly play out if they'll let him just start walking around. Now I doubt that'll be the case, but he at least got this dinner, and that's all he's wanted, and it seemed like things were going well at the end of the episode. And of course that's when we find out that these dreams that were kind of pissing Raina off aren't dreams, they're actually visions, and she can see into the freaking future. So that kind of blew my mind, of course, because it seemed like her ability was with the spikes. It seemed obvious, like she has these spikes. Physically they hurt her, but at some point she'll be able to control them. Like I said, theoretically, shoot them off of herself and things like that. And maybe she still can, but she also has this ability to see into the future. So she's, clairvoyant, or however they're going to determine it. Because, like, clairvoyant is a little bit different where it's kind of vague and stuff. But she's having, like, actual visions, and it's not just, like, this or that. Although sometimes clairvoyant is just seeing the future, so it really just depends on how they want to term it. But I was very shocked by that, and I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know how quickly that new storyline's going to advance and things with her character developing these powers and realizing that they aren't just nightmares that she hates, but are actually visions of things. I want to say that was maybe, I think there was, well, she said she'd been having them for a while, so I guess it wasn't the same day. It was just when she mentioned it, but she'd been having them, so she sees things days in advance. So I don't know what that's going to mean for the show, and how much she's really going to come to terms with her new ability. Maybe considering the fact that she can see the future, and obviously what you can gain from that, maybe it'll allow her to accept her abilities, and even the way she looks, it'll help her kind of get over the issue that she's having, where it's like, all that happened to me was I turned hideous and have spikes that physically hurt me. And then she'll realize, like, even though it doesn't change her physically back to what she used to look like, she can see the future. Like, that's one of the biggest powers you can possibly have, is being able to see into the future. So maybe they'll be able to work with that, and that's how she kind of comes to terms with what she now is as being an Inhuman. But I thought it was a nice little twist at the end. Like, boom, it's actually visions of the future. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. And then of course, all the stuff with May was definitely really cool. Getting the flashbacks and seeing her with her husband in the opening scene and stuff, and how they were this normal couple, once again, normal family, and laughing it up and stuff. And their plan was to actually start a family, have a child, and then she goes on this mission with Coulson, and everything just falls apart, and it was crazy. Like, I didn't know what to expect with that, and she goes in, she's beating these people up and taking everyone out, stealth style, and then when it gets to the stuff about the pain and, like, everyone's being taken over and, their emotions are being siphoned, and it turns out not to be the mother but the little girl that May was trying to save the entire time. That was a huge twist that I didn't see coming. I'm sure some people probably saw it coming because it's like I wish it was that simple. Honestly, I was thinking something just way outside the box, and that was that somehow she ended up taking this woman's power, which I thought was weird, and like maybe that's why she's so amazing and stuff like that. I don't know, but I was like going way, way out there with her possibly having powers or something, or like a really suppressed version of superpowers or whatever. But it was really fun to watch. It was really crazy. Like she finds out that it's not the mother. She got like shot in the leg and stuff, which I was surprised by because it's May. It's like May just like dodges bullets like she's in a part of the Matrix or something. So it was kind of interesting to watch her get in the fight, and she was actually shot in the leg and like in the kneecap too, which is like the worst ever. She certainly shouldn't have been standing in that next scene. She should have been like on the ground, like I can't like do anything. But it was fun. It's TV, so can't nitpick every single thing. But it was fun. And then when it turned out to be the little girl was the evil one, and she just has this darkness. She's like walking towards you, got the long hair, like I don't know how many people are gonna get this reference, but she made me think of Alma from the Fear franchise, which is a horror video game. And it's like this little girl, basically the entire franchise. It's this little girl until the second game actually. But there's this girl, and it's like her whole thing is like she's sort of a ghost thing. It's a whole complicated story. The point is though, evil little girl, long hair, typical, long hair, red dress, and basically she just slowly walks towards you and it freaks you out, and that's it. Because she's just like, she doesn't touch or do anything to anyone. They just explode, and that's all that happens. And that's kind of the feeling that I got from this creepy little girl walking towards her. And she would like do like this and basically siphon the rest of someone's life off and stuff. And that looked kind of cool. It's kind of interesting to watch her do that and just be fueled by these people's pain, and that makes her stronger. And it was crazy. And like she could even channel that into her mother, which I thought was very interesting. She could literally channel the power that she got into someone else and give them the strength that she would typically have. So thinking about that is actually a really, really cool power. She was just consumed by it because she just was an insane little kid. So that's just how it played out. But that was a nice twist ending there, and it was obviously, it being the little girl. It's like she went in. That was the only reason May was ultimately even involved, was because of that little girl. Like they wanted to save their team, of course, but it's like, for May, it was obviously like her wanting to start a family stuff. That was the huge connection there. And then she has to kill this little kid in order to save these lives. And, this really big thing where she gets all the accolades and stuff, that's, really her worst moment in service with S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's, ultimately what ruined her life, honestly. It's like, it's why she got out of the field. It's ultimately what ruined her relationship, because she couldn't, get past that, whether it was with a husband who, could do help with therapy or not. It didn't matter. It was just, she went through this insanely traumatic event, and it just shook her to her core, and it stopped her ultimately. It just stopped her completely. So I enjoyed that. I thought it was very interesting. We finally got that answer. It was, obviously it was mentioned so many different times. Like it was mentioned so many times that honestly in some cases she didn't even say don't call me that. It was like, I don't like being called that or stuff. Sometimes people just said it so much she just ignored it. It was just like, whatever. That's what people call me. I can't constantly, say like don't do that, like don't call me that. But it was cool to get that answer. We also got some other stuff with current craziness with S.H.I.E.L.D. and her finding out these answers with Coulson having this secret program or protocol or whatever. Like she didn't know anything about Deathlock, and then apparently Deathlock's super battery charger, all this secret stuff. And so now we kind of know a little bit more about why the real S.H.I.E.L.D. was going after Coulson, and why they think he was hiding something a little bit too big. Like, why would he be hiding, Deathlock? That's obviously a really big deal. So there's something in this new protocol. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Mu Theta, or if I remember right. But whatever it is, it's probably important. And I was Yeah, I don't know. I was surprised that they added this element in. I didn't think there was that much to it, but I guess admittedly it makes sense that there would be something specific. I honestly just thought they were kind of tired of the secrets in general, because obviously Fury had his secrets and he gave them to Coulson. Coulson had some secrets. Like, he just kept the secrets Fury had, maybe different agents or any sort of random shield crap. And then it's like, well, here's a specific example, and it's obviously a big deal. Like, no one really knows what it is. Like, the real shield, they knew what it was, or at least heard of it, and Coulson obviously kept it hidden well enough that he didn't even tell his own team. So whatever he's doing, it's obviously important to him. I highly doubt it's anything bad because it's Coulson. If they turn out to be right, that would just like flip the show upside down, I think. And it's like Coulson's actually a bad guy. So whatever it is, I know he has his reasons. He's the good guy. It's Coulson. It's like he died in the Avengers and he made a joke like, oh, that's what this gun does, and then he died. That guy isn't gonna be like the super villain. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but I am definitely excited to see whatever this protocol is, or whatever he's trying to do with Deathlock, and maybe make him an even more powerful weapon for even more powerful villains. Like, that seems like possibly the simplest thing, but whatever it is, I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely excited for um, some of the stuff coming up in this season and everything that's going to happen when the teams kind of converge on each other again, and it's kind of all out chaos all over again. And we still didn't see Ward, which I was very surprised by. He wasn't even in this episode except for he was in like the recap where he says, I can't believe I work with the Cavalry or whatever, and for a recap from season 1. So I was incredibly surprised that they didn't have like any focus on Coulson actually going after Ward and finding him or anything like that. Excuse me. But I'm sure we'll get that soon enough. Sorry about that. But I'm sure we'll get it soon enough. But I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And now that we finally know the answer as to why May is called the Cavalry, what do you guys think about that? What did you guys think of the flashback and the twist at the end, and just the way it affected her character? And we really get to see that it wasn't just like, oh, she killed someone that she wanted to save, because that's what I thought it was. It was like she went in, and I also thought she lost the team. I could have sworn someone mentioned that, where it was like the entire team got killed off and she ended up killing the person in the end, but it was like she couldn't save the entire team at all. That's what I thought it was initially from some dialogue somewhere, but it's that type of legendary story anyway, because they were like, oh, it must have been like 30 guys in there, and it was like, what, 10 guys? I remember seeing like 10 people or something, and it didn't seem that way to me. But however it was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting look into her character and what really changed her from the typical wife who wanted to have a family and stuff and just laugh it up. Even though she was serious in the field, she could make the jokes and stuff like that and go home and be fine, to who we know now is just like stone cold. She could be a killer if she wanted to be, but she's not. She's just the stone cold hero, I guess, which you don't hear about too often. But yeah, that's what she is. I loved it. I want to know what you guys thought about it though, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.